So why are you expecting the Caucasians to freely educate something that they've known and have learned down through generations and generations? Because guess what? You aren't the only ones being left out of the loop. 90% of Americans know nothing about personal finance or business finance. Why? It's not even taught in school. If you go to major in finance, you're not going to learn about personal finances. You're not going to learn how money works. You're not going to learn any of those things. Okay? So that 90% of Americans, we only make up about 15 to 17%. So understand it's not a racist. Contrary to what they're talking about. They just took the focus totally off what the real thing is. That's right. The real thing is education. All right? So if you want to invest and learn how money works, if you want to really take your business to another level, or you have a vision and you want to take that vision and say, well, I'm ready to step out there on faith. I'm willing to put in the energy and the work. It comes, invest $75 for each one of these workshops. Normally they're going to cost you $150 per workshop. If I sent you to SBA's, my favorite portal, which I'm one of the retired CEOs of SCORE. Okay. But why would I do that when I know I'm living in the city and I know I'm operating the company in the city where 75% of people here have really been a part of my heart? If you ask me, that was the systematic result. And it had nothing to do with racism. It had everything to do with, we're a big experiment here in Baltimore City. You have John Hopkins, you have so many research, you have science too, the world's renowned scientists. So when we talk about murder, we talk about violent crime. Why haven't they been on top of violent crime? It brings in billions of dollars a year. Now, I know that may sound cynical to some, but I worked on Capitol Hill for 8 years. That's reality. You know, I got to be behind closed doors when different Senate investigative committees are talking that talk about the country's security. Okay? Each one of our Congress people, they go, and their dream is to go to D.C., Washington, D.C. nation. And what are they going there for? They're supposed to be going there to represent all of you. All of you. So why am I looking at Baltimore City? Knowing how much Baltimore City receives every fiscal year in dollars, the dollars amount, $4.2 billion this fiscal year in 2021. During a pandemic when everything was closed. You feel me? Anybody ask me what happened to the billions of dollars when people were working from home? Office buildings were shut down. So it's on us to hold our leaders accountable and don't shun away from that because they work for all of us. And so when Brandon's over there in Park Heights, and then he's celebrating a few people that got a grant. And guess what? They got a grant from two of the biggest nonprofit institutions in Baltimore City. Well, why aren't some of those same institutions, like Catholic Church, giving wheelchair service providers? And she had the only model that has proven to be successful. Because the leader don't stamp her name on anything if it ain't righteous, number one. And if it doesn't work, I'm not stamping my name. So for me to spend the whole past year writing press releases, holding press conferences to feature what was going on underneath that 83 bridge, well, guess what? You guys don't really want to see that on TV. We found that finally got the city council members to change their mission statement. Any of you knew that? They're not going to broadcast that. They changed their mission statements from sheltering to now housing. Okay? Now, how are they going to be successful with that? Oh, they don't have anybody with the expertise that this woman has right here. Yeah. And by the way, Christina, this conflict of interest, real kid service providers cannot award us. Okay? Yeah. We actually started an LLC this week, and it's called Homeless Outreach and Management Empowerment LLC. And guess what the abbreviations is home. And when we say home, we mean just that. We want a house. We're gonna house like you've never seen some people get housed before. You feel me? And see, I know one thing. Can't nobody do it like this woman did, has done it over the past 8 years. But then the city, even though they've changed the mission, still has a missing link, and that's why I created it. We created it together. Okay, so we're gonna hire right off the bat 10 people. We're gonna increase that employment every quarter. By the time I'm done, we're gonna hire at least 100 people over the next year to do what needs to be done to house our most vulnerable people in the city. So we don't have to wait to become politicians, baby, because we can do it. Right. But you just gotta have the right plan. You gotta have the right plan. Yeah. And you gotta come together. So once again, Dr. Jenkins, thank you so much. For those of you, I passed out a flyer. I would suggest if you know young entrepreneurs, if you know people that are struggling, trying to put together a business plan so they can get a loan, this is going to be a unique opportunity. Not only are we going to critique what you write in these workshops, but we're also going to present the top 10 at the end of every 6 weeks to our database of lenders. We're going to make sure that you get money. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We got, because I like to be on time. We ended up starting like around 6:25 because it was real hot in here. Then we were down there, and we were here. So we never really quite got started until like about 6:25. But I'm a person I like to start it in on time. So we're going to stop at 8:25. It's now 8:07. I wanted to give you a couple of announcements first. Dr. Max Ragland, who's sitting over here, he left his card, and then we have Bars. Make sure you go on line. He said he's going to be in touch with you. He said he knows you, actually. So make sure you check out.
I need to touch bases with him.
Okay, make sure you check out. Again, for those of you who came late, the purpose of the town hall meeting, I'm going to run through it real quick, is that we're trying to do this in every part of the city. On the west side, I need somebody to look into finding a place for us to use on the east side. So thank you. So we can go there, and because everybody can't come to the west side, or north or whatever. So we want to make sure next month we're doing the same thing. When we come together from 6 to 8, and we want the residents, everybody that's in the community, leaders, activists to come out. We want to pass the card backs around. All of this information is going to be going into a database. So when people need something, they don't have to look outside of our community. They can look within our community. And they can actually go to the database and see what Jason, where everybody else is doing. If you make cakes, where's Miss Yolanda? Over here.
Yes,
y'all got to see her cakes. They look, they're amazing. But just like the ones you see on TV. So if you need cakes baked, you can look in there. You're looking for cakes. Her name will pop. That's what we're trying to accomplish. That's why I want everybody's name and information down here. Couple of things. Miss Cheryl mentioned she has a lot on Milton, the corner of Milton and Oliver. If y'all need to use the lot, you can contact me or you can contact her. How much it costs, Miss Cheryl?
I told you, I said I'm getting ready to build my program back up, so that's not being in charge of. The only local list is church side, Spanish church people. They tell me I got everything notified. So just contact her, anything on the lot.
Let me tell y'all, the lot is huge. It is huge. So, listen, let's use it.
Yes.
Let's use it. She did a real big event. The children could go to Six Flags. She brought Six Flags to them on Sunday.
Wow.
It was beautiful on Sunday. And even had the band for Peabody Institute out there playing for kids.
And let me say this. When I say I'm a trench girl, I'm a trench girl. Everything that was donated, the boys from the hood donated the flags, donated the firecrackers, the big bombs, the BGF, whatever that gang stuff is, they stopped selling dope or whatever. They donated the 3 grills, right? I mean, everything was donated from the hood, you know, because Brandon Scott, of course, he was at his family reunion. So we were in the trenches with the community.
And it was beautiful, y'all.
It was nice.
So that's
the
what
public swimming pool and
Yeah.
everything. Kids.
I wouldn't elect. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If anybody needs any sound reinforcement DJ services, or streaming
Oh,
just yeah, that's also like it as well.
wow.
And we're gonna put all of this out. Y'all can actually, if you put your email on if everybody put their emails on there, I'm gonna send you pretty much what we talked about tonight anyway. Also, another person contacted me. His name is James. I forgot his last name, but he said he wanted us to look into Hilltop Nails, which is on Ricestown Road. It's a nail shop. He's been taking his elderly mother there to get her nails done. And normally he said he drops her off. But this particular past couple of times he went there, he sat in with her, and he was saying how the nail techs there are so disrespectful and so rude.
Wow.
And they didn't realize that while he was there that was his mom. And the nail, you know, elderly people, they move slow.
Right.
And so the lady wanted her to get up so she could get the next customer. And she got telling his mother, get up, hurry up, get out here, go over there, you finished. So he wanted us to look into, and I think I know what he said. He said Hilltop Nails, it's a Hilltop Shopping Center, sorry. It's called Hilltop Nail Salon. It's on Ricestown Road. So he said, you know, we can just check into that because he's actually gone there on other days just to like kind of drop in, and apparently they're rude to a lot of us that come to the door. And he was talking to some people as they were leaving. They were just like, I ain't never coming back. But I love what he did. If we don't know about it, we can't do it.
That's right.
So that's and nobody's mother, like, you didn't talk to my mother.
Right.
But so he wanted us to check into that. The other thing I wanted to say real quick before Giovanni comes out is also at the meetings, because they're going to be like from 6 to 8. In certain communities, we have people who don't have any food, like, you know, they don't have any food, they don't have any water. So I want to get to the point that as we're having this community meeting, that we do have some kind of snacks, some kind of food there. So if anybody wants to make a donation for that, just let me know, because our people in our community, we got a lot of children and people want to get no food. So we want to make sure that we have something when they do stop in, you know, they can grab something while we're here. I think that was all the announcements. Now we got to be done at 8:25 because I got to get on a plane in the morning.
Wow.
So come on, Giovanni.
And I want to say, if anybody in houses that's rented, you know, please keep me around. Yeah, like a
So everybody, we have this thing that's called Project Baltimore that's going on where we're talking about the school system. And actually, I was out with Giovanni this morning because we really need to get our schools back on track. Right. And so he's been actively out in the community. And Fox 45 was there this morning. And so I asked him to come and tell us a little bit about what Project Baltimore is doing for the school system.
Yeah, so as you know, first off, my name is Giovanni Patterson. Maybe saw me last year running for city council president in Baltimore City. Professionally, I work as a cybersecurity engineer. I don't think many people actually know that part about me. And I actually do a lot to protect Baltimore City, from a cybersecurity perspective. And on top of that, my husband, father, kids, my family is the most valuable thing to me. Vice president of the First Douglas Foundation, work with youth with the Lifting Hands Mentorship Organization, and co-founder of Metro Conservative Media. And my wife and I, we actually do financial services education system is really in dire straits right now. I'll say this to people a lot of times. Anybody know what the greatest evil is? The greatest evil. Someone said this to me the other day, and it really just kind of really sat with me. The greatest evil that we face is forgetfulness. And what I mean by that is that we've forgotten who and whose we are. That's why the Bible says we have to renew our minds daily in order to remember. Right? Now, I also look at that in a lot of the natural senses. Has anyone ever read the city charter? Okay. Has anyone ever read the city budget? Okay. So on one of the first pages on the city budget page, they have an organizational chart. And who's at the top? Anybody know who's at the top of that organizational chart on the Baltimore city budget?
Controller.
The people.
The people.
The people. So one of the greatest evils that we face is the fact that we forget that we run this. The people run this. Right? So as we forget these type of things, we oftentimes voluntarily give up our power. One of those aspects is the school board. Which one of you voted for a school board member? How many of y'all personally know what policies, what procedures, what curriculum standards your school board personnel stand for? These are all aspects of the power that we have that we voluntarily given up. Right now we have a strong mayor city government, which means the mayor appoints these people. We can attend as many PBA meetings, as many parent-teacher conferences, as many of these school board meetings as we want to, but they do not have to listen to you because there is nothing you can do to control them because we voluntarily given up that power. So I believe there's several things that we need to do to fix our school system. One is that we need an elected school board. That way people are returned the power to vote for who they want to be in that particular position. We also have to have a little bit more accountability with the parents. Right now, we have a culture of no consequence. If you get an F, oh, it's no matter, just go to that. So we have to change those type of things. We have to have the money follow the students instead of it getting tied up in administration. You know, the average private school in Baltimore City is about 10 grand. But our students get about 16 grand per pupil, but they never see the money. Dr. Santelisa's got a $50,000 raise a year or two ago. I just did a little bit of math. If you take that $50,000, instead of giving it to her, let's buy 10,000 BTU, if you know anything about air conditioners, 10,000 BTU air conditioners. Spread them across the city. These are things that we're not thinking about, right? So when it comes to city schools, so when it comes to Project Baltimore, they're the ones that did uncovered the Augusta Bell. My wife was a city school teacher for a long time, and she knew all of these things that are going on within the city school. However, you can't speak out about it. You'll lose your job, and the way Baltimore City will do it, they'll ban you for life from teaching. Right? So I really don't like speaking a long time. You know, that was one thing about me being a politician during the ride. I didn't like to talk. So
teamwork.
So today, Mr. Patch did show me some of the average some of the average GPAs of our schools, and the average, he showed how many of the students had less than a 1.0. It was about 42% of our schools. 42%. Now, how many of y'all think that's acceptable? But who's talking about it?
We gotta keep it in there.
Now, I'm gonna share this one last thing with you. I talked to the president of the NAACP of the Baltimore chapter. You guys may know who he is. But he said directly to me, and I really thought it was fascinating. He said, I asked him, so why isn't the NAACP speaking out about this? Because I believe this is one of the greatest injustices that Baltimore is really facing, especially when our education system. We have some of the brightest kids, musicians, artists, creators, business owners, all this stuff. I know it exists. So why isn't the NAACP speaking out about this? Well, he said, well, we want to get to it. We got this going on right now, but the ultimate issue is Baltimore City doesn't know. Baltimore City schools doesn't know how to educate Black kids.
Wow.
I almost lost my mind.
Wow.
9 out of our 10 school board members are Black. We have a Black city council president. We have a Black mayor. We have a Black police chief. We have a Black state's attorney. Since in the mid 1980s, Baltimore City has been a majority Black city. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Since the mid 1980s,
and majority Black control.
and majority Black control. And are you saying to me right now, Mr. President, that we don't know how to educate our own kids?
Well, not majority funded.
So stay tuned to that. It is coming on Fox 45. I did get my doctorate in sellout for appearing on Fox 45 too many times. So that's why I'm a doctor. So that's what I did get my doctorate degree in, is being a sellout. But I'm standing up for our kids, and I'm standing up for our kids. So if that's wrong, then I'll proudly claim that. But can't claim that.
We got, y'all can hang out for a couple of minutes, a couple of people. Ask, Pastor Shannon, right, to come up and say something real quick. She has to go. You wanna give her a hand coming up? If y'all go on my page, if you're gonna wear the Baltimore page, you'll see an interview for what she's about to talk about.
So I'm talking about two things.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna ask one question. Yeah, sure. My husband tells me that I don't speak loud enough.
You don't hear that?
That's how the meeting, as if you were
Okay. See, I was quiet. Because see, here's the thing. If I yell, you're gonna hear me no matter what you're doing. But if I speak in a super tone, you might miss something. So, now, I got some things I'm gonna share with y'all, but I got one question. How many of y'all just celebrated Juneteenth? How many of y'all celebrated Independence? Okay. How many of y'all want to see you live in the city and celebrate the oppressors that look like us? There's people like that. Oh, okay. So, I like what a lot of y'all said about my grandbaby today, not asking to do. My mama told me, I'm gonna do what I need to do. The thing I'm gonna ask for is your forgiveness now. So until we all adopt that attitude, they're gonna keep doing what they do, because they know we're gonna keep allowing it. The elected folks in the city only do what everybody else lets them do. That's it. So when people say the time it is, they want to get in front of Fox 45 and talk about all the babies, this, and they letting the baby. Well, how come you gonna keep letting them do that? So somebody here tonight talked about finance. So here's the thing. How many of y'all have supermarkets in your community? Anybody? Okay. So most don't, right? You know why? Because supermarkets aren't sexy. They're not fun, they're not exciting, they're not sexy. Supermarket companies make about 1.9% profit on what they sell. That's not enough margin. So that means they don't have enough profit to contribute to the political elected whole. So that industry is not a priority. So let's be real about that. Who has the money to contribute to the elected officials? That's Under Armour, because they got that development going on over there. A few other folks here and there. But the things that everybody, the real folk in this city need, are not sexy. They're not a priority. A lot of people talk about racism. So I want y'all to understand that. It's not racism. If you got your foot on my neck and you look like me, it ain't about race. It's about what you perceive as the lack of dollars in my pocket. So let's be real clear on this. This ain't about race. This is about money. And as long as we are perceived this to not happen, we will be perceived to have no voice or opinion. Now, I get in trouble for saying things sometimes, and I real glad I'm not on right now. I can say what I want to say. I don't give a damn who like it or who don't. So, oh, we're afraid, because now everybody woke. Right? I've never seen a more sleek bunch of woke folk than in this city. Now,
Amen.
how woke are you if you keep voting the same way for the people that are oppressing you? How woke are you if you continue to send your children to the public schools here, knowing that their diploma, if they get one, is only valued at about 65% of what a student's would be outside of the city? How did y'all know that? So here's the thing. The school system keeps failing your kids, and the kids still get a diploma. When your child with their Baltimore City diploma goes up against somebody with their New York City diploma or their Annapolis diploma, who do you think is weighted more? Not you. Until we take back control, understand what our priorities should be, and make other folk accountable and hold them up, these things will not change. So, I'm not of the belief that we don't have power, because we do. If you spend money in this city, you have power. It's how you organize that power. So, during the election cycle, I was running and I ran with my whole heart, but I didn't drink the Kool-Aid. My mom didn't drink the Kool-Aid. I standing on business. So I had to decide, what did I want the day after election day to look like? And I said to the folks that worked on my campaign, I said, I want a couple things. I said, matter of fact, I want a couple of things you're not going to want here, but you're going to have to give it to me. Because Bob said you don't have to, you're going to ask. So I'm asking you to give it. The headquarters, the office that we used, I want to keep it. And we did. We're at 729 back corner, President's Back. Right down there with all of my businesses and do all the things that don't look like this. Because I want them to see my black behind. And when I get out, dressed like I feel like dressing, I want them to wonder, do I work here? Do I change the garbage can? Or do I have an office up in the penthouse? You can figure that out. So we did that. From that space, we run our nonprofit urban engagement initiative. We run our PAC, Urban Red, and we also just recently started a referendum ballot committee. Because all the words that y'all said here, all tied in that thing he asked you for records in the city charter. So what I need y'all to understand is although the elected officials right now are causing a problem, they've actually given us the solution. Y'all remember last year on the ballot, there were 13 referendum. 13. One of them said, well, we seem to have a little problem. We had a band that had a design. We have one that's serving somewhere down there. Police mission. Some other folks, somebody else resigning soon. So we need to put in a method to be able to remove folks. They don't act right. So the one petition they put in for us regular folks is a petition with 20% of the eligible voters. So I started such a petition. I want to make sure I can do it to people on the doctor. And I want all y'all to not just sign it. I want each and every one of y'all to get 100 of your friends to sign it and then share it. Now, we'll get to that number. But the other provision that they put up in there is that the chairman of the subcommittee of legislative oversight of the city council has the ability, the right, and the responsibility to launch an investigation if there are credible claims that our elected leaders are not doing their elected duties. So, after the letter, using their words on their referendum, it said, as Hughley said, I'm gonna ask you, but I'm gonna tell you, you got 30 days to schedule a meeting. The charter, you just shut down off. That's what you're gonna do. So we're working through that process. But again, I will make sure you don't have all of that information. Everybody is, don't take out your time. Come sit in the room. You don't want it. Because you still believe in this city. You may not believe in the folk elected to lead it right now, but you believe in this city. So take that belief, take that faith, take that thing that drove you to be here and turn that into something enabling all of our entities and all of our projects to actually take back control of the city. Not ask, but take it. It is ours. This gentleman said, what's at the top of the budget?
People.
People. Not the people. Y'all people. I ain't there. So it's time that we stop asking, stop complaining, and just take it. Just do it. You know, the project that Dr. Lady J was referring to, one of the issues we talked about a lot here in the campaign cycle with students, about how you have to get a vehicle and travel to a supermarket. Because even if there's one that you are strong enough to walk back from without your groceries, but it's a challenge. Very large amounts of neighborhoods and communities in the city. So one of the things that we've been working on, we're going to do it, and the video that she's talking about shows it. We're working with the community groups and the churches. They're on that forecast right now, asking them to give 6 of their partnerships to go through. Because right now, the churches have been really working on too far. You drive over, you sit around around, wait for the box. But when either you don't agree with something that somebody said as elected is paying for that budget, or the elected in an those change, or folks just don't like it. Those boxes are ones you stop coming, but the hungry people will not. So we are teaching them to actually grow their own food. So I would ask that each of you look at that food bank, and I would work with any community organization, church, group that wants to actually be able to take control of at least one aspect of their own destiny and be able to take something away in terms of control that other folk have on us. So that is it for me. My name is Pastor Shannon Ray, and I hope to be in touch with each and every one.
I'm telling you, I thank y'all for hanging out. I really do. We got Ms. Shalon, you want to come up?
You just sitting there fussing at me about
Ms. Shalon, she was running for mayor as well. So I just want you to tell me what you got going on now. I mean, you ain't said I don't.
I don't do any of that. I do an elevator pitch and get it out in 1 minute or less. Okay. I am Yolanda Poole. My organization is called People Empowered by the Struggle. We are one-stop shop for all struggle. Okay. I just talked to Shannon Ray about what we're doing. We're trying to do a community market where we be like the Amazon of food. We will give you a website to go to. Fulfillment. We'll get a website to go to. Elderly people who's not computer savvy, you get a catalog, you order the food, we deliver. We cut the cost because nobody comes in to shop. So we're doing that. We also asked Christine Flowers because I don't go on. Well, I don't step on toes. Did I not tell you that? I don't do that. We also built an initiative to bring tiny houses in Baltimore City for our homeless population.
the first tiny village.
So
It's for a specific group. So.
for homeless individuals and formerly incarcerated women. Oh, wow. We also help people get exonerated. So we have resources that we can reach out to you because we still have those connections. I mean, we do it all.
Wow.
But I don't step on people's toes. I go to the individual who's already doing it, and I ask for permission to do things because I'm not trying to recreate the wheel. I'm not trying to take somebody's thing. I believe that we all should work together for one common cause. I have a question for you. What is the failed thing of the black man when it comes down to us versus them? You said it earlier. We have to stop letting them dictate our history. It's his story, and we need to tell our own story. My father was a Black Panther. We had been celebrating Juneteenth to tell us. We don't celebrate 4th of July. That's just how it is. So when she said something about the woke individuals, I'm like, well, why the hell was everybody sleeping the first time? You should have been on point. We have to stop being those ones in that shed and fighting over the crumbs and the chitlins that they throwing into us because they already know that we're not going to stick together. It's the light skin versus the dark skin. That's slave. Sugar, honey, I ain't going to fix. I'm also passionate like Steve over here. I can go crazy with the word. They're like, she's so angry. I have a right to be angry. If nobody's not angry about what's going on in the city, something's wrong with you. So when you're talking, you gotta keep that passion. You gotta keep it, because guess what? It will never leave Yolanda. I will not, and I told him I will not leave my city until I fix it. One way or the other. If I had to burn it down to the ground and rebuild it myself, I will do that. If you need me, call me. Like I said, I do it all. We do it all. Matter of fact, I have been doing it for over 20-something years. The only reason why I built the organization, which I had it since 2008. I just put it on paper in 2020 because I have a team that I trust. And the thing is that word trust, you cannot trust. I'm not going to trust my children to just any and everybody. So I trust these people that they have people's best interests at heart, which is Jason Rodriguez and my sister. Like I said, nobody sits on my board without struggle. We have our own struggles that we have always done. We have women that's been put in foster care system and molested, and my sister and them who are felons. Everybody, nothing, people who are addicts are on our board. In order to understand the people, you have to be one of them. So I am Yolanda. Like I said, if anybody needs me for any reason, I'm always one phone call away.
Yolanda, I gotta be well, my man.
I love it. And you know what? I have friends who sometimes they'll be looking at my videos and stuff. They be saying, like, the people you interview, they always angry. I said, I live down the street. I said, if y'all live in Baltimore City, you be angry too. People shooting, you don't know if you're going to make it home. You know, I'm out in the neighborhood. Yeah, I'm out in the neighborhood. People are bad past me, shooting at each other, jumping out the car. You don't know if you're going to make it home.
I lost three cousins last year.
Wow.
3 cousins. This year, second homicide in the year for the family. I've lost several friends this year. Never mind Dante, who I have his phone number in my phone, and I keep showing folks that we had a relationship. So I can speak about my brother if I feel, you know, that we could have done more to make sure that we protect our city. You know what I mean? So I've been through the trauma and the pain in this city. And I think we all still going through it. I think we all have.
That's we grew up with him in Charlie Hill.
Who's that?
Benny.
No,
Oh, Benny. Oh, okay.
We grew up with him in Charlie Hill, and it killed me to stand there yesterday to watch them eulogize a good man because he did not. He had young. Who leaves a person? Who leaves 11 children? You left. You took this man's life and left 11 children with no father.
A friend I haven't seen in 20 years. I see him yesterday at Benny's vigil yesterday. And I see this man in just pure tears yesterday. Like, you know,
That broke my heart.
It's sad. And you know what? We are all traumatized in this city. All of us are traumatized. They're dealing with our own issues because we live here. And people that don't live in this city don't understand it. Because a lot of times I get very passionate and I get loud. But, you know, I just tell people, if you don't live here, you don't understand it.
Or
you
people who live sheltered lives.
Sheltered
the
lives.
problem is, you know, I'm not to ridicule anybody, but we rode past yesterday, Mosby and them's house. They have security detail outside the house. You go past Brandon's new house, he has security detail. So a lot of these folks live in a bubble compared to what we live at in our community.
And I'm gonna tell you, I live in this neighborhood. Like I can walk now, but it's times I got a little shit stick. When they out here shooting, you know, if she trying to go to the bathroom, I have to, I hate to say it, I have to close the door and let her be out there and do what she's doing, or either I'm gonna be in the middle of a crossfire. They shoot around here all the time. All the time. They beat people up, drop them off on the street. You know, I'm sitting at the window at the middle of the night, they beating up people in the alleys, they shooting. This is my neighborhood, this is where I live at. And this is what I wake up to every day. I can't even, I can't even sit on my porch. You know, I can't sit on the porch. Yeah, when I'm sitting on the porch sometimes, they start shooting. I know, or if I see the helicopter, I know get up, run in the house. You know?
Ladies, I just want to ask Ms. Nate a question real quick. Last time I talked with Ross had 70 homicides that he wasn't able to put out. How many do we have now that they do not want him to let the city know? If you can say it.
You're talking about as far as the program.
When the program was up.
We had over, to date, we have over 30 plus homicides that we help with investigations. Over 50 investigations in total. Over 170 cases were supported, including a family that we're dealing with right now who's trying to get the prosecutor's office to investigate a shooting that happened where they have 7 persons of interest. Wow. 7 persons of interest, and they won't act on it, and especially they won't act on it now because
Teach our people to stop dying in silence. That's the
We got one last
Dying in
question.
silence.
If you were listening, Mr. Bill Gooden was speaking about the People's Power Assembly and about the unemployment benefits. This is one of the ladies that's on the front line all the time, okay? She's out there fighting for the people all the time. You see her on social media, she's on the news, yelling and screaming. But I think we can tell them a little bit about where that's at, the unemployment situation.
Okay, so I'm Joyce Butler. I had a radio show on Dr. Jenkins' platform. I'm a member of the People's Power Assembly. I am an activist for the eviction prevention. I am the unemployed workers union. We were very successful in getting a landmark decision against Governor Hogan. He was trying to take away this extra $300, which only lasts until September anyway. So now we're gonna, these people, Marylanders, are gonna get this extra $300. Well, the actual injunction is temporary. We have to prove to them within 10 days that we need a permanent injunction, and we are gonna do that. They were picketing and rallying in front of the 500 North Tower today. So all of that is going on. I just want to say real quickly, because I know Dr. Jenkins has to catch a plane. If anybody is dealing with eviction, please tell them to go to BeMoreChildren.com. BeMoreChildren.com. There's a huge amount of money out here to prevent people from getting evicted. You tell your family members, don't try to go up against these rogue landlords. BeMoreChildren.com.
All right, thank you so much. Everybody, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. If you did not get a chance, one second, please. If you did not get a chance to fill out the notebook with your email and your organization, make sure you do that. Make sure you drop your business cards in there. I will email you the information for next month's meeting. Will be on the east side.
So you still gonna do city council next time?
I'm on my way to Tennessee. My station was chosen as one of the black stations to come and sell awards in Tennessee. So I'm gonna be down there from Wednesday until Monday to sell awards this weekend. So I gotta get home to pack and get ready early and like be airport this morning. So thank you all for coming and shout out to the people that's on my radio station.